One of the most common complaints that I get about difficult people is that they are defensive, that there is nothing that you can say to them that they don't react to, that they don't argue, they don't jump back at you, attack you, criticize you, get upset with you, deny the problems, deny their responsibility, whatever it is, that you're just reactive and you can't explain and you can't get them to hear your listen to what your needs are, your complaint is, or your concern is. So you cannot, with a really defensive person, prevent the person from being defensive. If that person is going to be defensive, you can't do everything right to make that person not be. But there is a way to minimize the defensiveness of a person when you bring up a concern or a complaint to them. And that is to own the problem. And you have heard about I statements, right? Where you've heard to talk about, you're saying, I feel this, or I have, or I felt this way when you said that, or I feel pushed away from you, or I feel criticized. And I statements are great. I just have a little bit of a tweak to the I statements and a little different way of presenting that might make more sense to you as to why they might be helpful in a situation where you want to minimize defensiveness. And that's what I call owning the problem. So there's something that someone is doing, your spouse, your son, your sibling, your parent, and you want to let that person know that it's causing you problems, that it's bothering you, that it's affecting you. And instead of saying, you are doing this, that's the one, that statement, that's the you statement that is most likely to get the person to react and to become defensive and to explain and defend and attack you back. But another way of looking at it is to say, you own the problem. The other person is doing something that bothers you. Whose problem is it? Yours. You're upset. You're uncomfortable. You're unhappy. You're not okay with it. You're not sure how to respond to it. Your life is upset. Your boundaries are crossed. Whatever it is, you have a problem. And the problem is the other person's behavior. So by owning the behavior, by owning the situation, owning the feelings, like, I'm worried about you. Okay. So if the person says, well, you don't need to be, I know that might be true, but I'm worried. I am worried. Now the person can come back at you and say, well, fine, that's your problem. Then you say, yeah, I know it is. It's my problem. I can't stop worrying. I'm just really worried about you. Or you could say, I don't know how much longer I can tolerate this or live with this or live like this. I've tried. I want to do it. I want to keep coming over here to help take care of you. I want to keep caring for you in my home. I want to stay in this marriage. I want to have you to be able to live here, but I don't know how much longer I can do it. It's really difficult for me. It's really causing me a problem. And the person, if they're going to get defensive, they're going to say, well, what's wrong with you? And you say, I know there is something wrong with me. I can't do it. Like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. It's really just causing me a lot of stress. It's causing me a lot of problems. So person can tell you that's, terrible or hard or doesn't make sense. And you can say, yeah, but it's just the way that I feel. It's just the situation I find myself in. It's just, the way that it is. I wish it were different. I've tried to make it different. I've tried really, really hard and I can't do it anymore. So by owning the problem, when they come back at you, you just re-own the problem. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the long-term solution, because you might have to be more proactive in solving your problem than just saying what your problem is. This is just the way to bring a concern up or an issue up to someone in a way that minimizes defensiveness, to where if the person is open to talking about it and cares about you and cares about your concerns, it'll be a way to slide in gently into the topic and have the person be less defensive and say, well, what's bothering you about me living here? Or what's hard about coming to see me? Or what stress is going on in your life with having me stay here? Like, maybe we can problem solve and get some extra help, or maybe there are some other options, or, I mean, it could start a very constructive problem solving conversation, or it could open up the ability to talk honestly to this person. If the person is defensive back to you, or is rude or intimidating or discounting or mocking, then that gives you, again, more information about who that person is, and that you can't talk openly with that person and expect there to be any kind of reasonable conversation, and that person isn't interested in hearing how you feel and in caring about how you feel, and why that's really sad. That is information. It is information to you about the relationship, which tells you that you have another problem. You have a person who is not caring about how you feel, who is not concerned when you bring up your concerns, and who is not willing to problem solve with you at all. So, again, minimizing defensiveness. One of the ways to do that is to own the problem. It's your problem. The other person's behavior is your problem. Now, I'm not meaning that you are causing the other person's behavior. You do not cause another person to make choices. That person makes their own choices, regardless of what you do. You are responsible for your behavior always, but the person's response, reaction, choice is theirs 100%. So I'm not saying that the other person's behavior is okay. I'm saying that the way to ease into talking about it, one of those ways, a really good way, is to own the problem. There's a verse, Proverbs 29:11. It says, a fool gives full vent to his anger, but a wise man keeps himself under control. So this is really keeping yourself under control, not letting your anger, your irritation, or your impulsiveness, or your emotional reactivity come to a person, attacking them, saying, you don't help me, you are taking advantage of me, you are rude to me, you are mean to me, you are lazy, you are drunk. Like, all of those things, guaranteed to get somebody to be defensive, and you're likely to get defensive back, and then you have a escalating argument and nothing has been solved, except you may walk away feeling like, oh, I messed up and it was my fault. So don't go there. Instead, think about it first, give thought to your ways, don't give in to your anger, don't vent your anger. Instead, own the problem. And you may be pleasantly surprised that you might have a conversation with this person about what is going on for maybe the very first time. And if you do, please write to me in the comments and let me know that this worked for you.